Tommy Fury completely exposed Jake Paul. This fight ultimately showed two things. One, if Jake fights a real boxer, he loses. It doesn't matter if they're way below average, he loses. Because Tommy is a way below average boxer. If you take all of Tommy's last opponents and add up their records, it's something like, I don't know, maybe like 10 wins and hundreds of losses. And that's a fact. And he boxed Jake Paul up. Because Tommy really didn't seem that bothered by Jake Paul's power. I mean, he certainly got hit a few times, but it really didn't seem to be too much of a threat of a KO in this fight. And that's because we saw that Jake really has a bad time controlling distance. He stays very planted, he stays very flat, and that helps a lot when you're trying to generate power. It's the reason for some of his big KOs. But Fury was just on his bike the whole time, constantly moving, constantly jabbing, keeping Jake away, and we saw Jake really got boxed up. He got his face boxed off. But the second thing is, I think we gave Jake a little too much credit for beating Tyrone Woodley and Anderson Silva. I think, in hindsight, this fight shows that MMA fighters, they can't box. They just can't. It really was not that impressive that he beat them. At least with Tyrone Woodley for sure. Anderson Silva, he used to box real boxers, but he's 47. And that really showed in their fight. Tyrone Woodley, on the other hand, rewatching that fight, that was bad. That was really bad. People forget how bad that fight was. Jake is beyond lucky that Tyrone was content with standing flat-footed right in front of him and just let himself get KO'd, because it was the most boring fight I had ever seen in my life. That was worse than Rose versus Carla too. Okay, maybe not that bad, but oh my God. 1-2 clinch, 1-2 clinch, 1-2 clinch, 1-2 clinch. That's all the fight was. That is all it was. I'll be honest, in the Jake Paul Anderson Silva fight, Jake's power looked scary. There were a few times where he loaded up that right hand and I was like, oof, you get caught by that, you're going to sleep. Like, I'll be honest. But in this fight, it did not seem like that at all. That shot was winging and Tommy really seemed unbothered by it. He even got caught a couple times and it really didn't affect him the same way. And I think that comes down to the fact that, he's not an old man. Silva, as much as I hate to say it, he was brittle in that fight. He was old and brittle and just fragile. Tommy, young, built, strong, he could take those shots. So the mystique of Jake Paul is kind of over now. I mean, how can it still be there? He just lost to a very below average boxer. Now, I know a lot of people are going to come out and they're going to be like, well, we all knew he wasn't that good. We all knew that, this doesn't really change anything. I mean, we knew Jake wasn't that, whatever. You cannot deny there is a mystique with being undefeated. Everyone thinks Khabib is the GOAT, even though he never fought someone stylistically. It was a tough matchup for him, but he's undefeated, so, legend. Jake Paul's not undefeated. He lost to Tommy Fury. So, I think that's it for him. I think that's over. Career done.